Did he deserve the fine? Yes. Did he deserve the one more match ban? No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why?
Okay, so to me, the fine is quite enough.
Okay.
Adding the ban just means one thing. The Referees Association seems to be of a dictatorship.
442 Dudes.
And hello, welcome back to another episode of 442 Dudes. No, I made that sound because it's the F1 season at this time of recording. So, hello people, I am Ben.
I'm John.
And together we are the dudes that bring you 442. So of course, if you've been following us, thank you very much. And really don't forget to hit that button of subscribe. And again, this is brought to you by CCBTV. Don't forget to follow also. Follow. Yeah, follow. Oh yeah, next segment, 90 minutes off.
Alright, welcome back guys to the episode of 442, and now we're moving on to the first segment called 90 minutes off. Now for this last week, we actually we actually watched a lot of European international qualifiers over the World Cup qualifiers, the Euro qualifiers, and throughout this campaign there were a few record breakers taking place this week. So, and the most famous of them all is Lamine Yamal.
Oh yeah, the one that you pronounced wrongly lah.
Yes, I know last week, for those of you who watched last week, I apologize. I mentioned Lamine Yassal. I think there was some autocorrect thing.
Typo.
I'm very sorry about that. But yes, let me get his name right again. Lamine Yamal.
That's
so,
right.
Man, what did he break? Which record did he break?
I mean, first of all, besides his age being the youngest player, by the way, 16 years old and 57 days into his age. I mean, I was doing my, O-level. I wasn't doing this record breaking. Yeah. And he was also the youngest goal scorer when Spain went up against Georgia. Mm-hmm. I mean, the scoreline was 7-1, so. But
he's got the last goal, right?
Yeah. He was brilliant. I think the way he just he gelled with the team, the chemistry. At 16 years old, who does that? I mean, in a talented squad like that. So
the best thing about him is that he's not even fazed by the occasion.
Yeah, he wasn't.
He just went do his thing, and then oh my goodness, the way his composure for a 16-year-old. It's fantastic. It's amazing.
Yeah. He wasn't. Yeah, that's what he said.
And some fun facts. There's some fun facts for you guys.
Okay.
So before Lamine Yamal scored for Spain in the last game, let me ask you this question.
Yeah, ask please.
Because I did my research.
Okay, I didn't, but okay.
Maybe you guys can try as well.
Yeah.
Who was the previous holder of the youngest goal scorer in a European qualifying campaign?
Gavi.
Make a guess.
No, not Gavi.
European qualifying.
I'm not.
It's someone there's someone that all of you are very familiar with. He recently retired.
Oh, not Theo Walcott.
No.
Oh, who?
The answer is Gareth Bale.
Oh.
Yes. So Gareth Bale was the previous record holder for the youngest goal scorer in a European qualifying campaign, and his record stands at 17 years and 83 days when he scored Wales' only goal in a 5-1 defeat against Slovakia back in 2006.
Wow.
And 2006, Lamine Yamal wasn't even born yet.
Yeah, I was actually 16 years old.
Oh my gosh.
I think.
No. Really? Nah.
No.
Another fun fact, right? So he broke 3 records, isn't it? So one of them you mentioned was the youngest player ever for Spain, right?
Yep.
He was also the youngest goal scorer. Yeah, so we touched on the goal scorer record. Now, another fun fact.
Okay, wow, another one.
Yes. So Lamine Yamal, if you realize, I only said youngest player for Spain,
but
I didn't mention he was the youngest player for the European qualifiers.
No.
Because he didn't break that record.
Oh, then who did?
At 16 years old and 57 days, he is still not the youngest ever to appear.
So there's someone younger.
Yes. And this person now is actually playing in the Premier League. You want to make a guess who that is?
No way. I have no idea. I can't think of anyone younger. He's
playing for one of the top teams.
Really?
Yes.
Even worse, can't be Jude.
He's a very good friend of Erling.
Phil Foden, no. I mean, who is?
Oh my goodness! You don't know?
No, I don't know.
After all the clues.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the youngest ever player that's appeared in a European qualifier is actually Martin Odegaard.
Oh, who just signed also contract. Okay, but wow.
Yes. And his record stands at 15 years and 300 days when Norway beat Bulgaria 2-1 in 2014.
Okay. That's a fun fact for me, and perhaps a fun fact for you.
And he actually made his debut for Norway, I think 150 days after he made his debut in the Norwegian top league, their first league. So so interesting facts.
It must be all the salmon. That's why
exactly.
They're doing quite
And Lemmy Yamal wasn't the only one that broke records in terms of the youngest player. And
okay.
also
Who else?
So we move on to the World Cup qualifying campaign in South America.
Right.
So Ecuador also fielded a player.
Yeah. For their qualifying campaign.
Correct. And his name is Kendra Pais.
Oh.
Yes.
How old is he?
Or
how young?
Oh my goodness, I didn't write this down. But I think 16 years and it's
Oh,
also 16
about
years.
16 years.
He's 16
Look
years.
at all the 16 years.
16 years and don't know how many days. I think you can see on the screen.
Yeah, you can see on the screen there. Look at that. Oh,
correct. And he's the youngest player ever for Ecuador and also the youngest player ever in a South American World Cup qualifying campaign.
Okay.
I don't know. What's your take, Ben, on all this calling up
young people,
calling up players in when they're 16 and 17? Do you think they are actually ready for the international stage?
I think we spoke briefly about this last season. It's the new age of being an 18 to 20-year-old. It used to be, the under 21s that you see someone who's 19-year-old in the first team and you go, oh, Kenha. I mean, is it possible?
Yep.
And then now it's just, you are expected at that age to perform. That's why I see.
At 19?
At about 20, 18, 19, 20. You're expected to perform already. Now, given at 16, you are now the new breed that's supposed to come in.
So the 16 is the new 18?
Yeah, it feels like that. I mean, for football. Yeah, for football.
It's interesting you mentioned that because back in the day, right, if you are making a debut at 21, 22, you are actually considered a really young player. But it seems that once you're 21, 22, you're supposed to be somewhat of a veteran already, right?
That's what we're seeing now. You're supposed to be, you got to know your stuff, got to know your shit. Now it feels like it's different. They are trying to debut their academy players and it feels like it, which is a good thing, I feel.
Really?
Yeah, I feel.
Why is that a good thing then?
Well, in terms of club, in terms of country, you're giving these players a chance to play, a chance to show their talent. Yeah, so I think.
But wouldn't that kind of like, so in essence, right, you're trying to prolong their career because now we are looking at players playing all the way into their late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah.
So that's essentially a 20 plus year kind of career.
In a way, and I think it's also to give them experience because some of them, I feel, if you don't give them that quick start at an early age, they're just going to lose that momentum. And we've seen that, with players who were in their 18, 19, 20, 21, and they eventually just fell out of the system.
This is exactly why I worry.
I only remember because I remember playing FIFA. This is very weird. I was playing FIFA a long time ago, and I remember a Liverpool player that I liked. I don't think he's there anymore. Pachico. Did you remember the name?
Daniel
Pachico, something like that. Argentinian.
Yes.
Or something. So I remember
Spanish.
using him a lot. And he just fell out of the system. And he was quite young also. So these are players, you see them. I mean, I saw them playing games, but you could see them coming up, but somehow just fell out of the system.
Huh?
So I like that they're starting it young, and I like that they're giving these players chance because now we're remembering them.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, for me, I just think the other way. I think they're too young.
Oh, is it?
I know I'm the advocate of if you're good enough, you're old enough.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It seems like it's happening all too often, and it's almost like they're trying to shorten their careers again. I don't know.
Okay. Well, so that's a very interesting statement from you where you said
why?
They're shortening their career
Because they're starting so early.
So
and I don't think
injuries.
That's what I feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, so let's move away from individuals. Let's move on to a team.
Whose manager is about to shorten his lifespan.
I thought you said shorten his hair, but
no
more hair.
I mean that too.
So we are actually talking about Portugal, right? So Portugal actually just achieved their biggest ever win in their history, a 9-0 win against Luxembourg.
Yeah.
And Cristiano didn't ever play because he was suspended.
But I mean, with a team against Luxembourg, no disrespect, but
you just.
I'm just saying Luxembourg is good, but Portugal has talents. Yeah, like Man United's Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, he had a hat trick of assists and including a Trivela cross. It's like a Modric or a Quaresma, esque kind of. I'm using this quite often. It's kind of Beckham-esque, TAA-esque, and then now it's a Modric and Quaresma.
It's such a big win I don't know if you guys know. The manager of Luxembourg decided to just call it a day before the 90th minute.
Call it a day before the 90th minute?
As in, he just walked back to the dressing room.
Even before the game.
Yeah. That's what I saw reports saying. So, I mean.
Oh my goodness. And the fun fact, right? I don't know. I've been doing my research, so just some fun fact.
Okay.
So, their previous records were actually 8-0.
Okay.
They achieved it 3 times. Twice against Liechtenstein in 94 and 99.
Okay.
They both were European qualifiers, and once against Kuwait.
Oh.
So it's interesting.
So now they have a 9-0.
Yeah. So
soon
that's
to be 10-0 somewhere. Yeah. So that's our 90 minutes off.
Nope. There's one more thing. We're going to go into so we talk about record breakers and all, but now let's focus on one game in particular.
Okay, which game was that?
Right, and you saw our thumbnail. We actually touched on the rise of Japan. So Ben, what was the score?
I think the score was 1-4. I'm a bit sad because I'm a huge Germany fan. I am. I've liked Joachim Low.
Yeah, that's Asian history already, pretty much.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So I feel that it was the wrong choice of manager from the start. I've never really liked this Flick dude.
Really?
If you ask me,
Why?
I never like. I don't think his style fits the national team. Bayern Munich for sure, but I've never liked him. Ever since his appointment, I've never openly said I've admired his style. I've always said, and I've told friends around me that I've still preferred Joachim Low, even though he digs his nose and does weird things. But he got Germany to where they are. But They deserve the loss. That's what I'm gonna say.
Before we delve deeper into why and how Germany kind of like basically they just disintegrated.
They just disappeared.
Let's focus on Japan first.
Oh, we should.
So if you look at the screen right now, in the last 4 games, Japan has beaten Turkey, Germany, Peru, and El Salvador, and all are convincing wins. If you look at the scores, that's at least 4 goals each game.
Yeah.
That's freaking amazing.
Their squad are made out of talent. They are playing in the big leagues.
Exactly.
You have those in the Premier League. I mean, even Liverpool as well.
Yeah, I mean, and Endo just recently joined Liverpool, right? But I just looking through their squad, their current squad, only 4 players of the current 25-man squad play in Japan.
Oh.
1 is in Qatar. The rest are all in Europe, whether it's in Germany, Scotland, England, or France. They're all in Europe.
And that shows talent, no?
I mean, this is just amazing. I mean, if you think about
it, it is.
In fact, right, I think recently there was a ranking in terms of all the best leagues in the world, right? And I think Saudi Arabia was somewhat in like 27 or something like that.
Somewhere there, I think.
The J-League's top league, right? It's actually 20th in the whole world.
Oh, is it?
They are voted the 20th best league in the whole world. That's the J-League 1.
Wow, I didn't know that fact. Okay.
And in terms of the FIFA ranking,
Japan
is actually 20th in the FIFA rankings.
Oh,
yes,
it's very high.
It's very, very high. By contrast, Germany is only 14, so they're not very far off from Germany actually.
Like 6 places below.
Exactly.
Oh.
And this is the second time that they've beaten Germany. I mean, they've beaten both Spain and Germany in the World Cup, right? They actually topped their group.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
Right, but Japan is, I think they're really, really a nation to watch, and they're made up of players who are very skillful, they are very nimble, and they're very quick.
They are.
They are. So,
but I think most importantly, just to cut you a little bit there,
Yeah.
they work as a team very well.
Oh, definitely.
Very, very
this
well.
This is the Japanese we're talking about. Regardless of jobs, I think Japanese in general, as a culture, as a nation, they really work hard together.
Yeah.
They really champion the team spirit.
They do.
Right, they do. So, I mean, I'm not surprising that you mentioned that. And so now let's focus a little bit more about how Germany actually capitulated.
Okay.
Yeah. So
let's go.
It's really pretty much a defensive disaster class, I would call it. Yeah, and it's all started with the formation. And not so much the formation, but the choosing of the players in the formation.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to focus on the defense. So they started with a flat 4. Joshua Kimmich started at right back. Centre back, you had Niklas Süle and Rudiger. And left back, you had Schlotterbeck. The problem with this is, Kimmich, yes, he started his career as a right back, but he has been converted into a DM for the last, 4 or 5 years? When was the last time he played right back? I don't think he played right back for a very, very long time. And suddenly, out of nowhere, he needs to play right back again. And Schlotterbeck is a centre back by trade. This is his first time starting a game at left back.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know what? That just means from the get-go, it's doom.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I think, and I have no idea why they decided to play a super high defensive line. Throughout the whole game, they've all been so high. If you look at the screen right now, okay, this is a short video that we played, showing the third goal that they conceded. Right, so Rudiger actually, before he passed the ball, right, he could actually see Kubo.
Okay.
It's very clearly in his line of sight, but he still passed to Schlotterbeck. And then Kubo obviously pounced upon him, right? And then, as you can see, he got the ball and he started running. But if you just focus on the two circles over there, Rudiger was staying still, but Asano started running the moment Kubo got the ball. And then before you know it, Asano's in the lead. He has overtaken Rudiger, and now you see Kubo has so much space over here.
A big area.
Yeah, so this is my problem with the high line, and it's not just about the high line. No, they are professionals. They are defenders by trade, right? Defensive-minded players by trade. I'm sure, and they can't even do the basics right of having a proper defensive line. They're all over the place. It's not even in a straight line. Can you just take a look at that? That's basic defending, and they can't even do it right. And then true enough, because they're all jogging back, Rudiger was just jogging back and all, and then Asano was way behind. But yet he's the first one to arrive in the box together with Kubo. And then obviously they scored.
Yep. And that led to the goal.
And then led to the third goal of Japan. I mean, this is just one illustration of how poor Germany were.
They were.
Because throughout the whole game, they were playing such a high line, and Rudiger's not the fastest of players, to be very honest with you.
No,
Schlotterbeck is not fast enough. He is 1.91 meters, and he's playing left back. As a left back, right, you need to be nimble, you need to be fast, you need to always be tracking back your players because of the wingers. Wingers are usually very fast, right? So the only big size left back I felt has been doing a decent job is Dan Burn at Newcastle. But otherwise, if you look at all the other fullbacks, they are always
if I may just add also, I think Germany hasn't been putting that physical, towering defense because they used to, and even when they didn't, players like Philipp Lahm, who was short as hell, but he could do the defensive work.
Exactly.
Yeah, you had Mertesacker, who was tall, but he was doing at least that whole physical presence. Now it's just we have them, but I say we because I support Germany, the football team. But, they're not fully utilizing it. Which is why I liked it when recently they beat France. But anyway, that's a
no. So
thing.
speaking of that,
yeah.
I just felt that the players somehow wanted to get Flick sacked.
No, I just felt it was a message to say, he's not suiting us. Yeah, granted, he did.
So are you saying that the players intentionally played poorly?
No, I wouldn't say intentionally. I just think that, they are showing. So it's like, I'm going to give you this plan, follow the plan. They did follow the plan. It failed the plan. And they go, you see, it's not working. And then when a new one comes in and, they're trying to show that maybe, I don't know what happened, but the interim coach might have said, okay, so guys, how do you want to play it? Shall we play it the way we'd always play it? And they did it and bam, look at that. When Thomas Muller scored that goal, friendly, it was a friendly, but he celebrated as if it wasn't a friendly. It was as if he wanted to prove a point. This is how you should play us. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, if you look at, just going back to the defensive disaster class, right? So the centre backs, Sule and Rudiger, they were actually responsible for all 4 goals. All 4 goals. Rudiger was responsible for the first goal, the third goal we just seen earlier in the video earlier, and Sule was responsible for the second and the fourth goal. And the main thing that they didn't do was basically keeping a tight, staying tight to their attackers. They were always very far off, or they are always losing the first balls. So I don't know. It just felt as if they did it on purpose.
No, it did feel like that. It did feel like that.
Yeah. So anyway, hopefully now with Flick gone and beating France, hopefully gives them a boost, and then
I'm sure it does.
We can finally see the real Germany back
exactly.
Again. All right, so guys, that's the end of the 90 minutes of segment, and we'll be moving on to the next one called the What's What with Who's Who.
We'll see you. Welcome back to this segment of what we call What's What with Who's Who. We sound so mysterious. Okay, anyway.
Anyway, for this week's episode, we're going to focus on one thing and one thing only. And that is something which, to me, it's a little bit...
Why, yeah?
Because Van Dijk has been fined 100,000 pounds and was given an additional 1-match ban for his foul-mouthed comments on John Briggs' decision to send him off against Newcastle.
Okay.
before I go into what I want to say, I just want to hear your thoughts first.
Okay, first of all, they've made the rule. They made the rule that, during the game, when you're on field, if the referee makes a decision should be final unless VAR overrides it, blah, 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 blah. Don't contest the referee.
Yep.
Just don't challenge the referee. That's basically the rule. I didn't make up the rule, It's the Botak Howard Webb came up with that. Did he deserve the fine? Yes. Did he deserve the one more match ban? No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why?
Okay, so to me, the fine is quite enough.
Okay.
Adding the ban just means one thing. The Referees Association seems to be of a dictatorship. That's just me. If you talk too much, we'll ban you. However, the fine is really,
justified.
Yeah, justified. Because, they set the rule. They did set the rule that when the referee makes a decision or is about to make a decision, you have no chance, no way should you actually influence it. Or at least, just go against his judgment.
Okay.
So the fine is deserved. However, should be fined more.
Why?
I don't know, $100,000. How much they getting? I'm just saying. So in a way, if they want to deter, just deter with money. But don't do it with the match ban. That's just me.
Interesting.
Because I do want to see them play football.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. No, because here's my take, right?
Okay, what's your take?
I think it's probably justified.
Oh, the whole thing?
The whole thing, I think, is probably justified. The reason, you pointed it out, because it's a rule that they set for this new season.
Yeah.
In our first episode, we mentioned about the new rules that
we did.
that has been implemented in this season, right? The problem right now is that they are very inconsistent in implementing those rules. But in Van Dijk's case, they implemented it correctly because he was. And I think one of the reasons why I think he was fined such a hefty amount is because it was caught on camera and is shown all over the world. And I'll give you some examples over here.
Okay, come.
So when I did my research and I went to compare over to some of the other pretty big fines that players had in the EPL, the biggest of all is actually John Terry. Wow. £220,000
I don't even remember
for allegedly racially abusing Anton Ferdinand back in 2011 when QPR played Chelsea. So he was eventually not found guilty, but I think because of the hoo-ha and because of the press coverage, the pressure from the media and also the public, I think that's why he was fined £220,000. And Alan Pardew was his next one, £160,000 for headbutting David Mailer when Newcastle played Hull back in 2014, and he was also handed a 7-game touchline ban. Right. There are other cases. Roy Keane was fined £150,000 for admitting that he intentionally injured Haaland, not Erling, but his father, Elf, in 2001. Ashley Cole was fined $90,000 in 2012 for a tweet against the FA. He basically called them a bunch of right? Yeah. Correct. Back even in the earlier days, in 1995, the infamous Eric Cantona kick against the fan.
Oh yeah.
He was fined £30,000 back then. He was banned for 8 months. No, I went to see the inflation calculator, the UK one. £30,000 back then is equivalent to about £60,000 this time around in the modern era. So if you think about it, right, hefty fines are usually, in my opinion, dished out when there's a lot of media coverage and when it's apparently shown that's so widely viewed around the world.
So pressure does add to the amount of fine.
That's why I feel, and because unfortunately Van Dijk was caught on the camera shouting those expletives, right? And that's the reason why I think he was fined that amount. Is it probably justified? I agree with you in the sense. I think it's probably justified for such a heavy fine. Now the thing I want to talk about is apparently they said all fines that's due to disciplinary actions will go back into reinvesting the Premier League, or at least in the Football League in England.
Oh,
yes.
I didn't know that.
So this is according to an article by The Athletic, right? So the FA maintains that they operate as a not-for-profit organization, and hence, whenever a player is fined for any disciplinary action, the money will be reinvested back into the football system.
Oh.
So just my question to them.
And
how?
You're basically saying that whatever they've been reinvesting is not working.
Exactly. No, I'm genuinely curious.
Right.
Like, what do they do with the money? Right. So these are just some of my ideas that I caught up. I'm just thinking about off my head.
Yeah. Let's go.
Is it going to be something like they'll increase the prize money, right, for the EFL trophy? EFL trophy is a trophy that only League 1 and League 2 teams are competing for. So do they increase the money for that? Or do they increase the prize money for the FA trophy? FA trophy is the trophy where only non-league teams get to play for. So you're talking about the 5th to the 8th tier in England. So if you remember, Wrexham actually got promoted, right? They were actually in the 5th tier. So they actually competed for the FA trophy as well. So I'm just wondering whether the money that's been taken from these players for their disciplinary actions, are they then channeled back into prize money for the lower leagues? Because they said they're reinvesting back,
Right.
Correct. So how are you reinvesting back? Are you reinvesting back by rewarding the champions of these cups, or are you distributing evenly out to all the teams in the lower leagues?
I mean, well, if that holds some truth, or at least to an extent. Oh, then if I'm a championship club, I'm gonna be praying that everyone gets fined every week or something.
Not a championship, at least lower.
Oh
leagues,
yeah, okay, lower leagues.
No, but that's just my thought, because I'm seriously, genuinely curious about what do they do? Did they actually do with the money?
They buy pencils for defenders so they can draw a line.
I mean, I don't know. So I'm just very curious. So if anybody out there, any of you that are watching, you know exactly how the money is being used, please let us know. Really, I'm genuinely curious, and I believe. We are not alone. I believe there are a lot of other people who are genuinely curious about how this money is being utilized.
Yeah.
And Van Dijk also came out and said, I hope it goes to a good cause.
I hope so too.
Whether it's donated to charity, I don't think so, because they really made it very clear it's supposed to be reinvested back into English football at all levels. And I emphasize all levels. So I'm just really, really genuinely curious.
Better cameras, better beer, better snacks. I don't know. That could be the reinvestment. But yeah, okay. So it's interesting to hear that John actually says he agrees with it. So I'm gonna tell you, I do agree with the ban. I mean the $100,000 fine, but not the ban. And so if you have your own thoughts, share with us. Let us know. We want to hear your what's what with who's who. And thank you.
We'll see you guys next week.
Next week, same time.